I wasn't angry when they promoted him instead of me. I was finally awake. If they hadn't underestimated me, I never would have learned how easy they were to break. 13 promotions, none of them mine. So I built something they could never promote me out of. Their downfall. They passed me over 13 times and still expected me to smile and clap as if loyalty were a currency they could print endlessly. My name is Maya Brooks, and wherever you're watching this, stay with me. Because when people mistake your loyalty for weakness, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk out in a way that makes the entire system collapse behind you. It happened on a Wednesday. Charcoal slacks, hair tied back, coffee in hand, that artificial buzz the office always had before big announcements. They gathered us in the conference room. I didn't hope. I didn't straighten my blazer. I didn't rehearse a thank you speech like I used to back when I still believed effort mattered. Team, Mr. Langford said, we're thrilled to announce our new Associate Director of Operations. And the second Cole Harris smirked. I knew. Cole, the king of strategic sick days, the man who once asked what a spreadsheet filter was, the guy who treated charm like a personality. He accepted the promotion, thanked me publicly for my attention to detail, and everyone looked at me like I owed him applause. I blinked once, walked out, and printed my resignation letter. Because the 13th time isn't when you fight harder. It's when you finally understand the game. They called me reliable, which in corporate language means dependable enough to use but invisible enough not to reward. I started at 21 with color-coded files, birthday cupcakes, and the belief that hard work spoke louder than politics. I stayed late, mentored interns, rewrote manuals, reorganized storage rooms, kept the entire place functioning, but the loudest always rose. Golf buddies, happy hour regulars, people who joked with directors about things they didn't even understand. Meanwhile, I saved the company over $1 million on an 8-month project, and they gave the award to someone who animated a few slides. When I asked why I wasn't considered for a director role, my manager said, "You're too important where you are." Meaning, we need your work, but we'll never give you power. Slowly, that kind of treatment erodes you, until clarity hits. After the 13th Passover, silence no longer felt noble. So I documented everything. Screenshots, stolen ideas, metadata proving authorship, timestamps, inconsistency in raises, discriminatory remarks buried in email threads. Not to sue, but because a mirror is most powerful when people can't look away. On a quiet Saturday morning, I wrote my resignation letter. 2 polite paragraphs. Attached to it was a 43-page audit disguised as Q4 performance overview. Favoritism, stolen credit, misallocated bonuses, lies in annual reviews, Zoom transcripts, project timelines showing who actually did the work. I didn't send it immediately. I scheduled it to go out 10 minutes after returning my badge. If you're going to burn a bridge, make sure the right people are still standing on it. What they didn't know was that I already had a new job. Senior strategy director at a fast-growing competitor, double salary, full autonomy. They wanted the traits my old job punished: discipline, precision, integrity. When I resigned, my manager stared like I'd dropped a live grenade on his desk. 10 minutes later, the audit detonated in his inbox. My first week at the new company felt like real oxygen. No boys' club, no stolen credit, no performative leadership, just work that mattered and people who recognized it. I rebuilt the division from scratch, hired overlooked analysts, undervalued project managers, interns who'd been treated like background noise. In 7 weeks, we exceeded quarterly projections. In 2 months, we secured 3 major clients my old company had just lost. Then came the poetic twist. My new firm entered negotiations to acquire my former company's largest client, the one I had kept alive for years. I led the meeting. When the client saw me, they smiled with relief. "We're ready for better leadership," they said. The contract was signed that afternoon. Meanwhile, my old company spiraled. Publicly, they blamed market conditions. Privately, they were drowning. Profit losses, resignations, panic. Cole was the first to go. 2 directors followed. The VP who laughed when I asked about promotion was quietly demoted. My former manager resigned in mutual agreement. Then came the desperate emails. fake warmth, nostalgic lies. We'd love to reconnect. We've been reevaluating leadership decisions. Even the CEO sent an offer: triple salary, stock options, a corner office, apologies wrapped in manipulation. I forwarded it to my team with the subject line: "We don't go backward." As they unraveled, I rose. A business magazine featured me under the headline, "The Woman Who Rewrote Corporate Power." But fame wasn't the goal. Impact was. So I created a mentorship program for the underestimated, the quiet workers, the first-generation professionals, the ones told to wait their turn. We named it Underestimated because that was exactly what we were, until we weren't. Months later, at a national summit, I spotted my old CEO in the back row. I began my talk with the line I wrote the night I quit. If someone tells you you're not leadership material, don't argue. Just keep receipts. The room laughed. He didn't. Afterward, he apologized, said they didn't recognize my brilliance in time, said I was always meant for more. I told him I wasn't waiting for your recognition, just your absence. A year later, I returned to my old company, but as a partner of the consulting firm that had just acquired their central operations. Their name was gone from the lobby. Mine was on the contract. One executive shook my hand and said, "So you're the quiet earthquake." I said, "I don't shake things up, I just stop pretending the cracks weren't already there." As I left, I passed the break room where I once cried after every lost promotion. Now it smelled like justice. Weeks later, an anonymous letter arrived. "You made us rethink everything. We were wrong about you." I folded it beside the 13 rejection notes I once kept. Notes that used to hurt but now served as proof. Because sometimes closure isn't applause. It's the silence that follows your footsteps when everyone who doubted you finally sits down. I wasn't just passed over. I was underestimated, and I turned that into a blueprint, not for revenge, but for legacy.